Let's take some more doubts. A person is standing on a staircase. He walks down 4 steps, up 3 steps, down 6 steps. Okay. Which where he's standing now in relation to the step on which he stood when he started. Okay, it's very easy. He walks down 4 step. Okay, I just mark down 4. 3 step up. That means now he is 1 step down. Okay, then further down 6 steps, so total 7 steps down. Up 2 steps, that means 5 step down now. Up 9 steps, so 4 step up finally. Down 2 steps, so down up 2 steps, so finally he is up 2 steps. Okay, otherwise what you can do is you just consider up as plus and down as minus, right? So down 4 steps, so it's -4. Up 3 steps, down 6 steps, up 2 steps, up 9 steps, down 2 steps. Okay, so it is 9 and 3 12, and this is -10, so 12 minus 10, 2 positive, that means 2 steps up. Okay, now this problem based on races. In a 100-meter race, Sujit beats Rishi by 5 meter and Rishi beats Praveen by 5 meter. By what distance does Sujit beat Praveen? See, Sujit beats Rishi by 5 meter. What does it mean? So this is a 100-meter track, right? Sujit beats Rishi by 5 meter. That means when Sujit is here, this Rishi is here. That means this distance is actually 5 meter, right? That means when Sujit covers 100 meter, Rishi covers 95 meters, right? So this is what Sujit beats Rishi by 5 meter, right? Just listen to me once again. Sujit beats Rishi by 5 meter means when Sujit covers 100 meter, Rishi covers 5 meter in the same time, right? I'm sorry, 95 meter. So Sujit, when he covers 100 meters, Rishi covers 95 meters, right? And Rishi beats Praveen by 5 meters. Similarly, when Rishi covers 100 meter, Praveen covers 95 meter, right? Now we have to find out the relationship between these two, Sujit and Praveen. Now that's very simple. See, when Rishi covers 100 meter, Praveen covers 95 meter. Right? Now when Rishi covers 95 meter, then Praveen would cover. Now this is the connection between Sujit and Praveen. Okay. So when Rishi covers 95 meter, Praveen will cover 95 into 95 by 100. Now what is the square of 95? That is 9025. Right? So 90.25 meter he will cover. Right? So when Rishi covers 95 meter, Praveen covers 90.25 meter, right? So when Rishi covers 95 meter, actually Sujit is covering 100 meter. So this Sujit is covering 100 meters. In the same time, Rishi is covering 95 meter. In the same time, Praveen is covering 90.25 meter, right? So by what distance does Sujit beat Praveen? What is the difference between these two? That is 9.75 meter. So that's the answer. Okay, I hope you are clear. Now this question. In a running race, Pallavi gives a head start of 350 meter to Richa. If the ratio of speeds of Pallavi and Richa is this, how far must be the winning point be so that Pallavi and Richa finish the race at the same time? Okay, that's pretty simple question. You start, see, this is the starting point and this is the ending point. Right now Pallavi is giving a head start of 350 meter. That means to Richa. That means when Richa reaches 350 meter, Pallavi is starting. That is the meaning of this, to give a head start. Right? Just listen to me once again. To give a head start means when Richa reaches here, Pallavi is starting from here. and this distance is 350 meter. That means when Richa covers 350 meter, then Pallavi starts, right? I suppose this distance to be x. So the total distance of this race course is 350 plus x. Okay. Now, I assume the speeds is 20s and 13s. 20s and 13s. Okay. Now listen to me carefully. When Richa is starting from here, Pallavi is starting from here. Both of them are reaching over here in the same time, but the starting points are different, right? That means Richa is covering x kilometer with 13s speed. In the same time, Pallavi is covering 350 plus x, this total distance with the speed of 20s, right? So this is the time taken by Richa and this is the time taken by Pallavi. Now both of them have to reach together over here, so time taken is same. The starting time is different, but after this position the time is same. Okay, now that becomes very simple. 20x is equal to 13 into 350 plus 13x. That means 7x is equal to 350 into 13. So that is 650 meter. That means this length is 650 meter. So the total length will be 650 plus 350 meter, that is 1000 meter, or we can say 1 kilometer, right? So pretty simple, can be done in just 40 to 50 seconds. In a race, the speeds of A and B are in ratio 3:4. A takes 30 minutes more than B to reach the desired destination. The time taken by A to reach the destination. Again pretty simple. I assume the speeds to be 3s and 4s and the distance is d, right? So d distance, if it is covered by 3s speed, this will be the time. D distance with 4 speed, this 4s, this is the time, and A is taking half an hour more, right? Now we have to find out the value of d by 3s. Okay, now I can take d as common, d by s as common. So what will be there inside the bracket? 1 by 3 minus 1 by 4, so that is 4 minus 3, 1 by 12. So d by s into 12 is 1 by 2, so it is d by s is 6, but we want d by 3s, right? So d by s is 6, so d by 3s will be 2. So 2 hours, that means this. Okay, apart from that, other way is also there. A ratio of speeds is 3 by 4, right? So if the distance is constant, speed is inversely proportional to time. So if this speed ratio is 3 by 4, then timing ratio will be 4 by 3, right? So that means 4 by 3 is what? 1 plus 1 by 3. So A will be taking 1/3 time extra than B, right? A will take 1/3 time extra than B. So now that 1/3 is what? 30 minutes, right? 1/3 extra and A is taking 30 minutes more. That means 1/3 is 30. If 1/3 is 30, that means 1 is 90, right? So 1 is the time that is taken by B, right? And A is taking 30 minutes more than B, so he is taking 90 plus 30, 120. That is 2 hours. Listen to me carefully once again. The ratio of speed is 3:4. If a speed ratio is 3:4, that means A is taking A's speed is 3 by 4 of B, right? If A's speed is 3 by 4, that means A's time will be 4 by 3 of B. So A's time is 4 by 3 of B, so I can say 1 by 3 extra, right? 4 by 3 can be written as 1 plus 1 by 3. So 1 by 3 extra, and actually extra is 30 minutes. So 1 by 3 is 30 minutes. That means 1 is 90 minutes. Now 1 is what? That is the time of B. Okay, and A is taking 30 minutes extra, so 90 plus 30, 120. So that's very simple. And if you are not clear with this fraction logic, you can simply make the equation. If you use this method, then you don't have to even go for paperwork, right? I have just written it for your reference, otherwise it's not at all required. You can do it mentally. Now this problem. Pallavi beats Anuva in a kilometer race by 50 seconds and Richa by 450 meter. If Anuva and Richa run a kilometer race, Anuva wins by 40 seconds. How much time does Richa take to run a kilometer? uh, simple problem. This is now what is happening. Just listen to me carefully. Pallavi beats Anuva in a kilometer race by 50 seconds and Richa by 450, right? I suppose Pallavi has completed the race. Now if Pallavi is here and between Anuva and Richa, Anuva is winning by 40 seconds. So precisely Pallavi is fastest, then Anuva and then Richa, right? Now when Pallavi is here at this point, end point, Pallavi beats Anuva in a kilometer race by 50 seconds and Richa by 450 meter. So Richa is somewhere here. Now this distance is actually 450 meter, right? Pallavi is beating Richa by 450 meter. That means when Pallavi reached the destination, Richa has yet to cover 450 meter. So this is the situation between Richa and Pallavi when Pallavi is winning. Second thing, Pallavi beats Anuva in a kilometer race by 50 seconds, right? Now between Anuva and Richa, Anuva is faster, right? Anuva wins by 40 seconds. So Anuva is somewhere in between Richa and Pallavi, right? So when Pallavi is completed the race, Richa will Pallavi beats Anuva in 50 seconds, right? So Anuva will still take 50 seconds to reach the destination. So I suppose Anuva is somewhere here. So Anuva is still take 50 seconds to reach this point, right? Now this is the situation. Richa is here. Richa and Pallavi, the distance between them is 450 meter. Anu will still take 50 seconds. Now between Anuva and Richa, if they run a kilometer race, Anuva wins by 40 seconds, right? So when Anuva reach here, Richa will still take 40 seconds, right? When Anuva reaches over here, Richa will still take 40 seconds. Now, as of now, Anuva will take 50 seconds to reach here, and after that, Richa will still take 40 more seconds. That means from this distance to this distance, Richa will take 40 seconds. Okay, just listen to me carefully once again. When Anuva is here, Pallavi is here, right? When Pallavi has completed the race, Anuva will still take 50 seconds, right? And when Anuva completes the race, Richa will still take 40 seconds, right? That means from this point to this point, Richa will take 40 seconds to cover, right? That means from this point to this point, Richa will take 40 plus 50, 90 seconds, right? 90 seconds to cover 450 meter, right? So here her speed is 450 by 90, that is 5 meter per second, right? Now how much time does Richa take to run a kilometer? So 1000 meter by 5, she'll take 200 seconds. Okay, I repeat, this portion you may find difficult. This is the initial situation. 450 meter is a distance between Richa and Pallavi. I suppose Pallavi has completed the race and Richa is here and the distance between them is 450 meter, right? Now Anu will still take, Pallavi has completed the race, Anu will still take 50 seconds to complete race. Now after 50 seconds, Anu is reaching here, right? Now when Anu is reaching here, Richa is still 40 seconds away, right? That means when Richa was here, Pallavi was here, this Richa will take 40 seconds to cover up this distance. Okay, so total distance of 450 meter, Richa will take 90 seconds, right? So that is 5 meter per second. I hope you are clear. This question, 12 persons go on a picnic. They carry 12 bottles of beer with them, one for each. Okay, that means 12 bottles, 12 persons, one for each. 2 persons mysteriously disappear, so the remaining 10 distributed 2 bottles of beer among themselves equally. After they had consumed 50% of the share, those 2 persons arrive. What fraction of their remaining share would each have to sacrifice in order to give those 2 their original share? Okay, I suppose there is 12 liters of beer and each one is getting 1 liter, right? So 12 liters, and after that these two persons they disappear. That means now 12 liters is to be distributed among 10 persons. So I suppose 12 liters is 12,000 ml. So it all of them are distributing equally. That means each one is getting 1200 ml, right? 1200 ml each one is getting. In all 12,000 is being distributed among 10 persons, right? Now after they had consumed 50% of the share, okay, 50%, that means 6,000 is consumed, right? Now they are left with 6,000 ml. Okay, those two persons arrive. What fraction of the remaining share would each have to sacrifice in order to give those two their original share? So their original share of two persons must be 2,000 ml, right? Now 6,000 ml is left, so each one is left with 600 ml, right? Now they have to give 2000 ml. That means each one has to give 200 ml, right? Out of 600 ml they have to give 200 ml, right? So that is 1/3. So what fraction of the remaining share would each have to sacrifice in order to give those two their original share? So if each one is giving 200 ml, then the remaining two persons will be getting their original share, right? So that is 1/3. I hope that's clear to you. Now let's see this problem. Two champion swimmers start a 2-length swimming race at the same time but from opposite ends of the pool. They swim at constant but different speeds. They first pass at a point 18.5 meter from the deep end. Having completed one length, each swimmer takes a rest at the edge of the pool for 45 seconds. After setting off on the return length, the swimmers pass for the second time just 10.5 meter from the shallow end. Thus length of the pool is going to be an interesting question. Maybe this is the swimming pool. Here it is shallow, here it is deep, right? Now this is the scene. First one person is starting from this side and other is starting from this side. I assume the speed of this person to be say x and speed of this person to be y, and the total length of the pool is L, right? Now they swim at constant but different speed. They first pass at a point 18.5 meter from the deep end, right? This is deep end. So suppose the first meeting point is this, right? That is 18.5 meter from this. That means this length must be L minus 18.5, right? Similarly, after setting off on the return length, the swimmer pass for the second time just 10.5 meter from the shallow end. So this is the second meeting point. That is 10.5 meter. Again, this length will be L minus 10.5. Okay. Now since we don't know the speeds, we have assumed the speeds of the two persons as x and y. X this way and y this way, right? So when they are meeting over here for the first time, this person might have covered up 18.5 meter, right? So 18.5 meter with the speed of y, he will take this much time, right? And this person L minus 18.5, because they are starting simultaneously, so he will cover L minus 18.5 in with the speed of x in the same time, right? So this and this is same. So we can say x by y is equal to L by 18.5 minus 1. Okay, so that is the first equation. Second one is they are meeting over here once again. So the person who is going this way, he will cover now this length plus this length. So L minus 18.5 plus 10.5. So precisely I can say L minus 8. This length L minus 18.5 plus this length 10.5. So precisely total length is L minus 8 he will cover, right? So he covers L minus 8 with the speed of y. And the person who is going this way will cover 18.5 plus L minus 10.5 in the same time. So it will be L plus 8 with the speed of x, right? So from over here, x by y is equal to L plus 8 upon L minus 8, and from over here L upon 18.5 minus 1, right? So x by y can be equated. So L upon 18.5 minus 1 is equal to L plus 8 upon L minus 8. Okay, so if we solve L plus 8 plus L minus 8, 8 and 8 will be cancelled. 2L upon L minus 8, L and L is cancelled. So L minus 8 is equal to 37. So L is equal to 45 meter. Okay. Bit lengthy but not at all difficult. Since the data are absurd, 18.5 and 10.5 are absurd data, that's why guessing from option will not work. Okay, I hope you are clear. Next, we have the doubts of profit and loss. In a certain store, the profit is 320% of the cost. If the cost increases by 25% but the selling price remains constant, approximately what percentage of selling price is the profit? So that's pretty simple. Cost price, profit and selling price, right? Cost price, I suppose 100, profit is 320% of the cost, so it is 320, and 420 will be selling price. Now if cost increases by 25%, so this is 125, selling price remains constant, that means it is 420. Now what percentage of the SP is profit? Now profit is what? 420 minus 125. 420 minus 120 is 300, so it is 295. Now we have to find out approximately what percentage of SP is the profit. So 295 is what percent of 420? Approximately we have to find out. Since the options are very far from each other, you can do this way, right? Instead of 295, I am writing down 290. I'm sorry, 0 is cancelled, and 4 sevens are 28, right? So it must be between 70, 71, 72, but other options are quite far, so you can be confident about 70%. Okay. Okay, this question: the profit earned by selling an article for rupees 832 is equal to the loss incurred when the same article is sold for rupees 448. What should be the sell price for making 50% profit? Okay, I assume the cost price to be CP, right? And the profit and the loss, both of them are equal. But cost price plus profit will be selling price, right? And cost price minus profit is the other selling price, right? P is same because equal to the loss incurred when the same article is sold, right? So this P, I suppose it to be X. Do not get confused. It is not profit actually. It is that cost price plus some amount giving you this 832 rupees. Here in this case it is profit. Here in this case it is loss. But since both of them are same, you can use the same variable for them, right? So cost price will be what? 832 plus 448 divided by 2. So 8 and 2, 10. 8, 12 by 2, 640. So cost price of this product is 640. Now selling price we have to find out when we have to make 50% profit. So 50% of 640 is what? 320. So the price, selling price must be 960. Okay. This problem: the percentage profit earned by selling an article for rupees 1920 is equal to percentage loss incurred by selling the same article for rupees 1280. At what price should the article be sold to make 25% profit? Same as the previous problem. I assume the cost price is X. Then the percentage profit or loss, I assume it to be P% is equal to 1920, and X minus P% is equal to 1280, right? So 2X is equal to 3200, so X is equal to 1600. That means the cost price is 1600. Now 25% profit is required, so 1/4 of 1600 is 400. So selling price must be 1600 plus 400, 2000 rupees. Okay. I hope you are clear. Now this problem: Profit earned by selling an article for rupees 1060 is 20% more than loss incurred by selling the article for rupees 950. At what price should the article be sold to earn 20% profit? Okay, I assume cost price, then profit, and then sell price, right? I assume the profit or maybe loss is P. Okay, now in this case, just read this sentence. 20% more than loss incurred by selling the article for rupees 950, right? So this is rupees 950 selling price. In the second case, I assume loss to be P, so cost price must be 950 plus P, right? In this case, selling price is 1060. Profit is 20% more than loss incurred by. Here it is profit, here it is loss. But this profit is 20% more than the loss data. So if it is P, it must be 1.2 P, right? So cost price must be selling price minus profit. Here it was loss actually, that's why I added. Cost price will be 950 plus P. You can see it is minus. Right? Basically it is a loss, but in this case it's a profit, and that's actually 20% more than this. So it's 1.2 P. So selling price will be, cost price will be 1060 minus 1.2 P. Right? So this is the cost price and this is the cost price, and both of them are same obviously because article is same. So 2.2 P is equal to 110. 1060 minus 950 is 110. So 2.2 P is 110. That means P is 500. Right? That means profit is 500 rupees. 50 rupees. Okay. So if profit is 50 rupees, cost price must be 950 plus 50, 1000 rupees. We want 20% profit. That means 1200 rupees should be the selling price. Okay. That's none of these over here. Now this question, a shopkeeper sold an article offering a discount of 5% and earned a profit of 23.5%. What would have been the percentage of profit if no discount was offered? Now that's pretty simple question. You don't have to even touch your paper and pen. See, 5% discount is always given on marked price, right? And his profit is always calculated on the cost price, right? So from cost price, profit is being calculated. From selling price, discount is calculated, right? So never the addition of these two will be the percentage of profit if no discount is offered. So this is ruled out, right? This seems to be absurd, so I check with this. Okay, I'm not eliminating it, but it is looking absurd. That's why I'm checking with this. Let's see what happens, right? I assume the percentage of profit if no discount was offered is 30, right? So if I assume the cost price is 100 rupees, profit no discount, then profit is 30 rupees. That means selling prices, or we can say in that case, if no discount is there, selling price and marked price, both of them will be same, right? That means selling price as well as marked price is 130 rupees. So the marked price will remain same in this case and in this case, right? But in this case discount is not given, in this case discount is given, right? Now marked price as well as selling price is 130. Now if we consider this case, a discount of 5% is given. So a discount of 5% of given on 130 rupees. So that will be 6.5 rupees. So 6.5 rupees if discount is there, that means selling price will be 123.5 rupees. That means profit is 23.5 rupees. So we are able to match that. Right? So this is how you can go by elimination method or by backward approach, right? No need to go for paperwork if you go by this approach. Okay, otherwise you need to make equation, that will be a bit lengthy or time consuming process. Okay, and if you are not clear for the first time, do listen the explanation once again. Okay. And apart from that, still if you wish to make the equation, I tell you that method also. I assume CP to be cost price, profit and selling price, right? Initially cost price is 1000 rupees, profit 23.5%, so profit is 235 rupees, and selling price will be 1235, right? But in this case, this selling price is actually marked price because the person is getting 5% discount. So here in this case, it is marked price. Now marked price is actually 95% of the selling price. I'm sorry, this is actually selling price. I'm sorry, this is actually selling price. Selling price is actually 95% of the marked price, right? Because he's getting 5% discount. So marked price will be this upon 0.95, right? Because 5% discount is offered. So this is selling price divided by 0.95, that is the discount data, will get the marked price, right? So this into 100. So marked price we are getting as 1300. Cost price is 1000, marked price is 1300. So if no discount is offered, marked price will be selling price. So that is 300 more than cost price. So the profit will be 300 over 1000, that is 30%. Okay, so that way also you can go. Now this question, a trader marked the selling price of an article at 10% above the cost price. At the time of selling, he allowed certain discount and suffer a loss of 1%. He allowed a discount of. So let's try. I suppose the cost price is 100. That means the selling price or the marked price is actually 110. That is 10% above the cost price, right? So the marked price is 110. Right? At the time of selling, he allows certain discount and suffers a loss of 1%. Cost price is 100 rupees, loss of is 1%, that means selling price is 99%, 99 rupees. Now marked price is 110, selling price is 99. So precisely 11 rupees is discount, and discount is always given on marked price, right? So 11 rupees is what percent of 110, so that's 10% only. So discount is 10%. Okay, so it hardly needs paperwork. I hope you are clear. Now we have this question. So many calculations are involved and time consuming as well. Let's see. Mr. Dua invested money in two schemes A and B offering compound interest at 8 and 9 respectively. If the total amount of interest accrued through two schemes together in 2 years was this, total amount invested was this, what was the amount was invested in scheme A? Now precisely you want the breakup of 27,000, right? Now see, I assume the amounts are X and Y. Now X amount at 8% and Y amount at 9%, right? And after 2 years, so compound interest will be what? X 1.08 square minus 1, right? On X amount, this will be the compound interest, and on Y amount, this will be the compound interest, and the total interest is 4818.30. Okay. Now you have two ways. The other equation will be X plus Y is equal to 27,000. Either you just solve both the equation, so that will be really a time consuming process, or else you can go using digital root method. See, cannot be determined is not the correct answer, right? I just calculate the digital root of this side. It's 8 and 4, 12, 13. 13 means 4, 4 and 8, 12, 12 and 3, 15. That means the digital root of right hand side, side is 6. Right? Now if you take 13500, that is 5, 6, 7, 8 and 1, 9. So this will be multiple of 9, this will be multiple of 9. So both the multiples of 9 will produce a digital root as 9, not 6. So it cannot be the correct choice, right? We start with 12,000. I assume X is 12,000, right? So I 0, no meaning in we don't have to consider zeros while we are calculating digital root. So I just take 12. So this is what 12 into 8 plus 1, this is number, this number is multiple of 9, so digital root will be 9 only. So 9 minus 1, 8, 8 into 3, 24, final digital root is 6 over here, right? Now this is 15, so 15 is 6 into, this is 1.09, that is 1, 1 minus 1, 0. We are getting, if digital root is 0, that means digital root is actually 9. So this number is multiple of 9. So digital root will be 9 only. So 6 plus 9, final digital root is 6 of left hand side, and we want the same digital root as we have already calculated the right hand side, right? Bit risk is there, but otherwise it will be too much time consuming. And if you have some time, you can go one step ahead, right? Here is 1.08 square, that will be 11664. So this will be the 1.08 square, right? Now how do I write so fast? That the method I have already told you in the basic calculation sessions, right? And this is 12,000. And this, from this we have to deduct 1. So this is this. Okay, 0.1664. Now I write 166.4 into 12, right? Because I'm eliminating 3 zeros. Similarly, it is 15 into 109. The square will be 11881. So it is 0.1881, right? And I remove the zero, so it is 188.1. And that is actually equal to 4818.3. So I just remove decimals from both the sides, right? Now you can match the unit digit. It is 8 over here. 8 plus 5 is equal to unit digit is of the left hand side is 3, and that's 2. Right hand side is also 3. Okay, so this is one more step to verify your answer. Otherwise, I would not recommend to go for lengthy calculations, because it will take at least 2 minutes to solve this problem if you just make equations and then solve it, right? And in 2 minutes you can solve another 2-3 problems. So that will be a time wastage. Okay, otherwise if you wish, you can go using this method, and bit risk is involved, no doubt, but yes, this much risk we have to take.